The coffee shop dream. Grace woke up very early, even before the soft melody of her alarm clock began to play. Outside her window, the sky was just beginning to lighten, painting the clouds with beautiful shades of soft orange, delicate pink, and gentle purple. It was a crisp, cool Monday morning, and the quiet dawn signaled the start of another busy work week. Time for work, she whispered to herself, stretching slowly in her bed. Grace loved her small, cozy apartment located in a vibrant part of Boston, a city she cherished for its history and lively atmosphere. Her job was at a large, modern office building situated in the bustling downtown area. There, she spent her entire day working with complex numbers and important data. Before she stepped out into the busy city, she always took time for her morning ritual, brewing a fresh, strong cup of coffee that filled her apartment with its rich aroma, and toasting a slice of warm bread, sometimes with a little butter. These quiet, peaceful moments, just for herself, were truly her favorite part of the entire day. Grace left her apartment building precisely at 7:30 a.m. The morning air was cool and invigorating, carrying the faint sounds of the city gradually coming to life. Distant traffic, a siren, the murmur of early risers. She walked quickly but calmly towards the nearby train station, her comfortable work bag resting securely on her shoulder. When she arrived, the train platform was already quite crowded. The train itself, when it pulled in, was packed with people, all heading to their jobs or classes. Inside, the car was a mosaic of daily routines. Some passengers had their heads buried in newspapers or books. Others were completely lost in their music or podcasts, their eyes closed. Many more simply looked at their phones, checking news updates, emails, or scrolling through social media feeds. Grace, however, always preferred the feel of paper in her hands. Today, her book was a fascinating exploration of famous coffee shops from around the world, their unique stories, their special interior designs, and the different ways they made their coffee. Coffee wasn't just a drink for Grace. It was a true passion, her absolute favorite beverage. As Grace arrived at her office, she greeted the security guard and stepped into the large, open-plan workspace. The room was already humming with activity, the soft whir of computers, the gentle clatter of keyboards, and the low murmur of colleagues starting their day with quiet conversations. She walked directly to her desk, a neat space with a large computer monitor and stacks of files. Grace turned on her computer, and the bright screen instantly illuminated her workspace. Ready for the day's tasks, her job involved analyzing a lot of financial data and performing various calculations, which, if she was honest, could sometimes become quite repetitive and a little boring as the hours passed. Around mid-morning, her friendly colleague, Tom, walked over to her desk, holding a steaming paper cup from the office kitchen. "Good morning, Grace," he said with a cheerful smile. "They just brewed a fresh pot of office coffee. Would you like some?" Grace smiled back politely, shaking her head. "No thanks, Tom. I appreciate the offer," she replied, "but I brought my own special blend from home today. I like it extra strong." Lunchtime was a small, precious escape for Grace, and without a doubt, her favorite part of the entire workday. Instead of eating in the often noisy and bustling office break room, she preferred to find peace outside. She would often walk a few blocks to a charming, small public park that was like a green oasis in the middle of the city. There, she would find her usual quiet bench under the welcoming shade of a large, leafy tree. She would carefully unwrap her homemade sandwich and simply watch the diverse array of people passing by, families with children, other office workers, tourists exploring the city. It was a wonderful way to clear her mind and refresh herself. Sometimes during these walks, she would notice new local businesses opening or interesting shops catching her eye. But today, something truly different captured her attention. It was a bright "For Rent" sign, prominently displayed on the front of a charming, slightly old small brick building. What made it even more appealing was its perfect location, right next to the main entrance of the park. She thought, her eyes lingering on the sign. A curious, exciting idea began to slowly form in her imagination. That evening, after a long and busy day at the office, Grace returned to the comforting familiarity of her apartment. She cooked a simple but delicious dinner, perhaps a quick pasta dish or a fresh salad, and then settled comfortably onto her sofa to watch a favorite TV show. However, her mind wasn't truly focused on the program playing on the screen. The image of the For Rent sign, that charming little building by the park, kept swirling persistently in her thoughts. What if? She whispered softly to herself, the question hanging in the quiet air of her living room. It was a daring, almost unbelievable thought, yet it filled her with an unexpected thrill. For many years, hidden deep inside, she had harbored a secret, cherished dream to open her very own coffee shop. She began to vividly imagine the place, a small, incredibly cozy space, always filled with the rich, inviting aroma of freshly brewed coffee and warm pastries. She pictured comfortable, soft armchairs where people could relax for hours, perhaps reading or chatting quietly. She imagined soft, calming music playing gently in the background. The detailed vision made her heart beat a little faster. Could she really, truly take this long-held, beautiful dream and make it a tangible reality? The very next day, the exciting new idea still buzzed strongly in Grace's mind. During her well-deserved lunch break, she decided she needed to share this big thought with someone she trusted. She pulled out her phone and called her good friend, Emily. Emily was a smart, energetic, and very practical woman who had successfully opened and managed her own popular small bakery across town for several years. Emily, Grace began, her voice barely containing her excitement. I have an idea, a really big, crazy idea. Something that's been constantly on my mind since yesterday. She then poured out her thoughts, telling Emily passionately about seeing the For Rent sign on the charming building and explaining her lifelong, deeply personal dream of owning a coffee shop. Emily listened patiently and carefully, her expression thoughtful and supportive. When Grace finished speaking, Emily's face broke into a warm, encouraging smile. Grace, that's not crazy at all. That's a fantastic idea, Emily exclaimed. You absolutely adore coffee, and you're so genuinely good with people. You have a way of connecting with everyone you meet. I truly believe you could make this work. Inspired and energized by Emily's strong encouragement, Grace immediately threw herself into extensive research. Her evenings and weekends, once spent relaxing or watching movies, were now dedicated to learning everything she possibly could about starting and successfully running a new business. She spent countless hours online, reading detailed guides on how to write a solid business plan, understanding the different permits and licenses needed, and learning effective marketing strategies. Her fascination with coffee deepened even further. She became a diligent student of the bean. She researched different types of commercial coffee machines, the specific origins of various coffee beans from distant countries, and the precise techniques for brewing the perfect cup. To gain practical insight, she embarked on a mission, visiting many different coffee shops throughout Boston. She carefully observed their layouts, studied their menus, noted their service styles, and even felt the atmosphere of each place. It was an incredibly exciting time, full of new discoveries and endless possibilities, but also a little overwhelming and at times quite scary. There was an immense amount of new information to absorb and understand. Grace quickly understood that turning her beautiful coffee shop dream into a tangible reality would require a significant amount of capital, a lot of money. With a determined spirit, she made a firm commitment to herself. She would start saving every single dollar she possibly could. Her daily habits and spending patterns changed dramatically and immediately. She completely stopped buying expensive coffee from outside shops, instead relying solely on her own carefully prepared homemade brews, which she enjoyed just as much. She also began bringing her lunch to work every single day, meticulously preparing it the night before to avoid the cost of eating out. To gather even more funds, she diligently went through her apartment, decluttering and organizing. She found old clothes she no longer wore, books she had read many times, and unused furniture, all of which she expertly sold online through various platforms. It was a challenging period, requiring a great deal of discipline and often personal sacrifice. But Grace remained fiercely determined. Every small amount saved brought her closer, and she knew in her heart that her dream was worth every single effort. After several months of dedicated, focused research and incredibly careful saving, Grace finally felt confident enough to put all her ideas down into a concrete, detailed plan. She spent many evenings at her kitchen table, meticulously writing down every single aspect of her future coffee shop. She brainstormed and finally decided on a perfect name, The Daily Grind, a clever and inviting name that played on both the act of grinding coffee beans and the idea of everyday life. She meticulously designed the menu, carefully listing a wide variety of coffee drinks, different types of aromatic teas, and a selection of small, delicious pastries and snacks. She even sketched out the entire interior design, imagining the warm color scheme, the exact placement of the comfortable tables and chairs, the cozy lighting, and the overall welcoming atmosphere she wanted to create. As she wrote and drew, she could almost vividly smell the rich aroma of fresh coffee beans being ground and hear the soft, happy chatter of future customers enjoying their time in her imagined space. The dream was no longer just a vague idea. It felt incredibly real and within her grasp. Finally, with her comprehensive plan firmly in hand and a steadily growing fund of savings, Grace felt genuinely ready to take the crucial next big step. She returned to the charming, small brick building next to the park, the very one with the "For Rent" sign that had initially sparked her ambitious dream. She stood there for a moment, looking at it, feeling a mix of anticipation and nerves. Taking a deep, calming breath, she pulled out her phone and, with a slightly trembling but determined finger, dialed the number listed prominently on the sign. "Hello," she said, her voice clear despite her nervousness. "My name is Grace Miller, and I'm very interested in the building for rent located next to the park. I'd like to schedule a time to view the property and discuss its possibilities." This simple phone call was not just a call. It was a monumental first step on her journey. She felt a powerful surge of mixed emotions, nervous excitement, profound happiness, and a deep sense of purpose. Her cherished coffee shop dream was no longer just a distant vision. It was now tangible, real, and getting closer with every single passing moment.